Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Mike Williams, and I have the great honor and privilege of serving as the chair of the board of Children's National. Most people don't realize that our hospital is a wonderful place to be at the holiday season. It truly is. It's very special, and this is one of the events that makes it so special. I know for me, it's one of the ones I look forward to throughout the year. I'm so pleased to see all of you here today. I also want to give a special shout out to all those who were families and kids who were in their rooms and watching from there. We're so glad to have you participate too. Why don't we give them all a big wave to say hello. Great, thank you. Now comes the exciting part, boys and girls. Please stand and join me in giving a big Children's National welcome to the First Lady of the United States, Mrs. Melania Trump. Mrs. Welcome, Mrs. Trump. Kids, we are so fortunate. This is the third time this year that the First Lady has come to visit Children's National to see our patients and see our kids. That's truly amazing. Let me thank the First Lady's special escorts, Elena and Damien, for doing such a wonderful job today. Of course, it wouldn't be our wonderful holiday celebration without welcoming Santa Claus. We realize this is a big time of year for you too, so thank you for coming here to be with us today. Mrs. Trump. Mrs. Trump, it is truly an honor and privilege to have you here with us today and continue the long-standing tradition of having our First Lady come visit the children at Christmas time. We thank you so very, very much. Now I'm going to turn over the microphone to the CEO and President of Children's National, Dr. Kurt Newman, to help call on boys and girls who may have a question for the First Lady. So please be sure to raise your hands. Kurt?
Well, thank you, Mike, and I think everybody can sit down. And so we want to, this is an opportunity for the kids, not the adults, but the kids to ask our First Lady some questions about the holidays. Do I see any volunteers in the audience? I see one right here. If you would just say your name.
Remington Storm Archer.
And go ahead and ask your question.
Miss Trump, what is your favorite Christmas song?
My favorite Christmas song is "O Holy Night." And what is yours?
Mine is probably Jingle Bells.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful song.
So we have another question, and I see it right over there. Chris?
Hi, I am Andy. The question that I wanted to answer, if you could spend the holiday anywhere in the war, where would you go?
Where are you, Andy? I don't see
Andy
you.
is right over there. Andy, stand up. Can you get up there? There you go.
Here you are. Okay.
Start it again, Andy.
My name is Andy Diaz. I am 10 years old. If you could spend a holiday in the war, where would you go?
I would spend my holidays on deserted island, tropical island with my family.
Okay, we've got another one right here. Your name?
Hi, Mrs. Trump. My name is Tara, and I have a question for you. What is your favorite family Christmas tradition?
Our family Christmas tradition is that Christmas Eve we have a dinner and we go to midnight mass, or Christmas Day Mass next day, and then another family dinner, and Christmas on the 25th, Santa comes, we open the presents, and spending time together.
Cool.
Wow.
Thank you.
And one last question. Where's the, oh, it's right here, right here.
For Christmas dinner.
Wait.
What's your favorite thing to eat for Christmas dinner? My name's Olivia.
Hi, Olivia. Nice to see you. My favorite thing to eat is just some healthy food, and you feel very good after, not too much eating, but we all enjoy it, and the most important part is to spend time with the family.
Okay, and this is the last question. What is your name?
My name is Sammy, and what's your wait, what is it? What did you ask Santa for Christmas?
Oh, that's a nice one. I asked Santa for Christmas peace on the world, health, love, and kindness. Thank you.
Wow, that is awesome. Thank you.
Good job.
Well, thank you all for those great questions, and I think we're going to have a story. Oh, Mike? I think actually we're going to give you we're going to have a gift. Is that, here you go.
I think right now the First Lady would like to read Polar Express to to the kids. So why don't we go ahead and do that now?
So this is very special book that I like for Christmas. It's Polar Express. I guess a lot of you kids and adults know the book, and it's very special to me. I hope you will like it. I'm sure you watched the movie as well. On Christmas Eve, many years ago, I lay quietly in my bed. I did not rustle the sheets. I breathed slowly and silently. I was listening for a sound a friend had told me I'd never heard. The ringing bells of Santa's sleigh. There is no Santa, my friend had insisted, but I knew he was wrong. Late that night, I did hear sounds, thought not of ringing bells. From outside came the sounds of hissing steam and squeaking metal. I looked through my window and saw a train standing perfectly still in front of my house. It was wrapped in an apron of steam. Snowflakes fell lightly around it. A conductor stood at the open door of one of the cars. He took a large pocket watch from his vest, then looked up at my window. I put on my slippers and robe. I tiptoed downstairs and out the door. All aboard, the conductor cried out. I ran up to him. Well, he said, are you coming? Where? I asked. Why not to the North Pole, of course, was his answer. This is the Polar Express. I took his outstretched hand and he pulled me aboard. The train was filled with other children, all in their pajamas and nightgowns. We sang Christmas carols and ate candies with nugget centers as white as snow. We drank hot cocoa, as thick and rich as melted chocolate bars. Outside, the lights of towns and villages flickered in the distance as the Polar Express raced northward. Soon there were no more lights to be seen. We traveled through cold, dark forests, where lean wolves roamed and white-tailed rabbits hid from our train as it thundered through the quiet wilderness. We climbed mountains so high it seemed as we would scrape the moon. But the Polar Express never slowed down. Faster and faster we ran along, rolling over peaks and through valleys like a car on a roller coaster. The mountains turned into hills, the hills to snow-covered plains. We crossed a barren desert of ice, the great polar ice cap. Lights appeared in distance. They looked like the lights of a strange ocean liner sailing on a frozen sea. "There," said the conductor, "it is the North Pole." The North Pole, it was a huge city standing alone at the top of the world, filled with factories where every Christmas toy was made. At first, we saw no elves. "They are gathering at the center of the city," the conductor told us. "There is where Santa will give the first gift of Christmas." "Who receives the first gift?" we all asked. The conductor answered, "He will choose one of you." "Look," shouted one of the children, "the elves." Outside, we saw hundreds of elves. As our train drew closer to the center of the North Pole, we slowed to crawl, so crowded were the streets with Santa's helpers. When the Polar Express could go no further, we stopped and the conductor led us outside. We pressed through the crowd to the edge of a large open circle. In front of us stood Santa's sleigh. The reindeer were excited. They pranced and praised, ringing the silver sleigh bells that hang from their harnesses. It was a magical sound, like nothing I'd ever heard. Across the circle, the elves moved apart and Santa Claus appeared. The elves cheered wildly. He marched over to us and, pointing to me, said, "Let's have this fellow here." He jumped into the sleigh. The conductor handed me up. I sat on Santa's knee, and he asked, "Now, what would you like for Christmas?" I knew that I could have any gift I could imagine, but the thing I wanted most for Christmas was not inside Santa's giant bag. What I wanted more than anything was one silver bell from Santa's sleigh. When I asked, Santa smiled. Then he gave me a hug and told an elf to cut a bell from a reindeer's harness. The elf tossed it up to Santa. He stood, holding the bell high above him, and called out, "The first Christmas gift." A clock struck midnight as the elves roared their approval. Santa handed the bell to me, and I put it in my bathrobe pocket. The conductor helped me down from the sleigh. Santa shouted out the reindeers' names and cracked his whip. His team charged forward and climbed into the air. Santa circled once above us and then disappeared in the cold, dark polar sky. As soon as we were back inside the Polar Express, the other children asked to see the bell. I reached into my pocket, but the only thing I felt was a hole. I had lost the silver bell from Santa Claus' sleigh. "Let's hurry outside and look for it," one of the children said. But the train gave a sudden lurch and started moving. We were on our way home. It broke my heart to lose the bell. When the train reached my house, I sadly left the other children. I stood at my doorway and waved goodbye. The conductor said something from the moving train, but I couldn't hear him. "What?" I yelled out. He cupped his hands around his mouth. "Merry Christmas," he shouted. The Polar Express let out loud blast from its whistle and sped away. On Christmas morning, my little sister Sarah and I opened our presents. When it looked as if everything had been unwrapped, Sarah found one last small box behind the tree. It had my name on it. Inside was the silver bell. There was a note. "Found this on the seat of my sleigh. Fix that hole in your pocket." Signed, Mr. C. I shook the bell. It made the most beautiful sound my sister and I had ever heard. But my mother said, "Oh, that's too bad." "Yes," said my father, "it's broken." When I shaken the bell, my parents had no heard a sound. At one time, most of my friends could hear the bell, but as the year passed, it fell silent for all of them. Even Sarah found one Christmas that she could no longer hear its sweet sound. Thought, I've grown old. The bell still rings for me, as it does for all who truly believe. Merry Christmas and joyous, happy holiday season. Thank you.
Mrs. Trump, thank you for that wonderful story.
you.
We so appreciate you being here with us today, and clearly you've brought grace and happiness and joy to the kids here as we get ready for the Christmas holidays and all the holidays. And with that in mind, I think the First Lady would like to say hello to some of the kids who are here with us today. So,
Yes.
Mrs. Trump?
Sure.
We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now bring us some figgy pudding, now bring us some figgy pudding, now bring us some figgy pudding and a cup of good cheer. We won't go until we get some, we won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some, so bring it right here. So bring us some figgy pudding, so bring us some figgy pudding, so bring us some figgy pudding, and hang it right here. Good tidings we bring to you and your king. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your King. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now bring us some figgy pudding, now bring us some figgy pudding, now bring us some figgy pudding and a cup of good cheer. We won't go until we get some, we won't go until we get some, we won't go until we get some, so bring it right here. So bring us some figgy pudding, so bring us some figgy pudding, so bring us some figgy pudding, and bring it right here. Good tidings we bring to you and your King. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your King. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now bring us some figgy pudding, now bring us some figgy pudding, now bring us some figgy pudding and a cup of good cheer. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. So bring it right here. So bring us some figgy pudding. So bring us some figgy pudding. So bring us some figgy pudding and bring it right here. Good tidings we bring to you and your king. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your king. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now bring us some figgy pudding. Now bring us some figgy pudding. Now bring us some figgy pudding and a cup of good cheer.
Now, Mrs. Trump, we'd like to have Elena and Damien present you with a special gift from Children's National. And thank you again for being here today. And we really look forward to seeing you here again next year. Thank you, Mrs. Trump. Let's give her a big round of applause.